Hi everyone! Let's get started. Good morning. I'm so excited you all woke up on time. I didn't. You know, it's rough. Hi, I'm Caitlin Brodnick. I am a Syracuse alum. I went to the School of VPA for theater. And I know Emme very well. First of all, she's amazing. Yeah. But we met at an event because I did a documentary series called Screw You Cancer. And it's about my preventative double mastectomy, preventing myself from getting breast cancer. It's the Angelina Jolie surgery. So I'm just like Angie. We're like twins. Except I have all the recessive genes and credit card debt. They're like the same. Guys, Angie's the same. So we're excited. There's a lot of things changing. There's a lot of changes in plus size fashion. We're all here together. It's super amazing. I will say I'm mad at Old Navy, because if anybody has seen in the news, they're charging extra for their women's sizes that are higher than 12. And for men, they don't charge anything higher. Men can be as wide as they want, and the price is still $25. I just hope that Old Navy gives that extra bit of money to their child workers. I'm just kidding, that's not gonna happen. Let's get going. Okay, so Emme is fabulous. That's why we're all here. She is like Wonder Woman mixed with your BFF. Like, she would save you from a fire and then go get pedicures. She's just fabulous. We have some other incredible panelists. I have a little card that has all the information. So we're all here also because it's the new design initiative, Fashion Without Limits, and this is the first of its kind in the country. We're really lucky that this has started, and Emme has brought this to Syracuse. Okay, we have Liz Black, who is a blogger from P.S. It's Fashion, and a contributor to Refinery 29. That's one of our panelists. I'm introducing her. Yep. We have Amy Cheshire, whoops, co-founder and president of Hey Gorgeous. Hey, thank you. Marshall Cohen, who's the chief industry analyst at the NPD Group, Inc. Thank you, Marshall. Love the patches on your elbows. Todd Conover, fashion design program coordinator and assistant professor at Syracuse University. Hi, thanks for having you. Thanks for having you. Thanks for showing up, yeah. Jeffrey Mayer, who's a fashion design senior facility associate professor at Syracuse University. And now we have Susan Moses, celebrity stylist and designer, with an amazing pin that won't quit. I am so excited to be here, and our main host for the event is Emme, who's just been incredible. You all know Emme is a supermodel, a television personality, an amazing, fabulous person. She was People's Magazine's twice as one of the 50th...
Get the hook.
Huh?
Get the hook.
Oh, yeah, I know. I have like a lot to say about her, guys. I also stalk Emme. She likes her coffee with just a little bit of milk. She's watching her calories. She was in Ladies' Home Journal as one of the most important women in America. You're welcome. You're lucky that you're here. She's really important. Glamour Magazine's Woman of the Year. I'm obsessed with Glamour because I showed my boobs at glamour.com, so we have like a connection. And Biography Magazine's Most Influential Women. Now, I will get off stage because, you know, you all have Googled Emme, you know enough. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me here. We're so excited. This is the first of its kind, and it's about time. I mean, women are of all sizes. And I shouldn't feel guilty if I want to eat 3 pieces of cake, because I eat 4. Okay? So let's just relax and enjoy ourselves and support these amazing students. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's have a hand for Caitlin. You're the best. Caitlin, as you just heard, she is a comedian, and she is taking her road show wherever you need a really great laugh at cancer, and kicking cancer's butt, as well as being a really incredible writer. And working with Glamour as well as many other magazines. So thank you so much for a fun wake up. Good morning, everyone. I see a lot of familiar faces, and I see some new faces. So thank you so much for joining us and the panel. And hi, panel. Good morning. Thank you for coming out and being so supportive so early in the morning. And without too much further ado, I want to give you a little background as to how Fashion Without Limits, changing the face of fashion, actually took place. For years and years and years, I have been involved in the conversation about how to supply a great demand of a fashion-starved individual above a size 12. And because I was being shot on red carpets and in the 90s, I was really out there pretty much with a group of maybe 5 other women that were really talking and chatting and really communicating. But I was getting designers making me one-offs, and it was really getting the community very, very upset. And there was not a social community yet. And so what transpired is I was knocking on the wrong door. Department stores can't change their direction. They're a big, big cruise line. And if you tell a department store, we want extended sizes, we want Missy 18, we want you to buy 4 16s, 3, you know, instead of 1, 2, 1, however the buying is. You can't really go there. You can have some help with getting the buyers to be more refreshed and understanding of what is really taking place within a society, but you can't do that by 1 or 2 people talking. The consumer, the individuals have to use their voice. And within this last week, to have this panel take place today is really like a stroke of brilliance and divine intervention, I do have to tell you. To see that the consumer today is using her voice in such a powerfully strong, and millions of women are saying, we don't like campaigns like that. If you say perfect body, have diversity, please. Inclusiveness is a word that's ringing true. So all the conversations that I was having about 10 years ago, yes, they were good. It kept me cutting my teeth and going back for research and trying to figure out how to develop a change within the entire industry so that I can have really hot-looking clothes anytime I want to go in being a 14, 16 and want to rock it, looking great, feeling good, a part of the community. And also that other women who were size 20, size 22, or size 18 or 16 that really were fashion forward, wanting to be fashion forward, could get into the same business. So when I went and started doing a Kickstarter campaign last year, Syracuse University, my dear alma mater, said, Tracy Washburn said to me, take it off Kickstarter. We want to be the one to support you. We want to do this with you. We want to be that fashion program that wants to help create change. And the 2 professors that are sitting to my right, Todd Conover and Jeffrey Mayer, with Tracy, with Jeffrey Comanici, with the university, without that 100% all in, we got it, we understand why you want to do this, we think that this is a great opportunity, let's do this, a year ago. So here we are at this beautiful week where lots of news of, and the most important part of the news is she, the consumer, is being heard. And she's speaking, she's communicating that she wants change. And I think we're at a really incredible precipice and a tipping point of sorts, that we're about to see a change on who's actually driving the decisions within boutiques, within design schools on how they're going to create these fabulous designers graduating. And the goal of SUFWL is to birth this baby. And really, there's no textbooks on draping, and there's no textbooks. These guys are totally and completely jumping into the pool and creating a new curriculum. And Jeffrey's going to talk, Todd is going to talk about the interesting conversation that had taken place just a couple of days ago at the university to say, do you want to be a part of change, ladies and gentlemen, or do you want to just stay in yesteryear? Because there's a little bit of nudging to say we're at a different place. So it's a very, very wonderful time to be here, and thank you very much for being a part of the really, really beautiful, beautiful morning, and thank you for coming out. Now, Marshall, before we get into statisticals, I would love to have Todd talk about what just recently happened, because not everyone wants to change. And fashion has been such an exclusive, very, very prideful of just the few to be involved in the haute couture, and we understand that. But because that aperture is really bursting open, from the consumer, from the individuals that are not classically seemed or deemed as fashionable above a size 12, which is really a fallacy and a myth. We're learning, we understand now. The students themselves have to be given this opportunity to be a part of the change and to be educated about that. So please, thank you.
Hi, so my name is Todd Conover, and we took on this project a year ago, and we had decided that the best place to put it initially was in the junior year draping class, because it's a very conceptual idea. It's a lot easier to conceptualize on a dress form, and draping is where you take the fabric and you literally go to the dress form and you drape on the form. So this is a junior level class, so we started there. We thought that, this would be a great place to start. We also had integrated it into our sophomore level drawing class, so students will start to learn how to draw based on the plus size form, and then be able to, in a year and a half or a year from there, actually start creating things. So we did get a little pushback from the students recently, and as juniors they do have a voice at this point, and they use their voices. And what we do in the university setting is we manage expectations. The students come in and they really have an idea of what they would like to do, what is going to occur in their 4 years. And this was not something that they had bought into. A lot of them have, but there were a few that really hadn't really thought about this, and they decided that this was not something that they really wanted to partake in. So a few of the faculty got together, and I decided that I would go in and have a little chat with them. So I did. So I did go in, and I thought, how am I going to approach this so that they would understand what we're talking about and what we're doing? And Emme just really did tell us exactly what I told them. I told them, I said, this is the first time in history, I think, that you have the opportunity to do something where the consumer is actually driving the movement. And either you're going to get on this train and go with this, because there's so many business opportunities. I have to admit that when Emme came to us, I had really no idea that there was this large gap in the marketplace. And so we did. So I equated it sort of to the turn of the century when women were deciding to take off their corsets. I said, we look back at that now and we say, well, how ridiculous. Of course they're going to do this. But I said at that point, there's so much resistance to this, and people were not on board with this idea. And the students looked at me and they're like, but that makes total sense. And I said, so does this. And you understand that suddenly you're in a cultural shift, that it's making you uncomfortable, you don't understand how to handle it. I said, so you really, if you really are going to get on board with this and move forward, because it really truly is happening. This is not a trend that's going away. This is something that is really going to be in the marketplace. It is happening. 15 years from now, you will look back at this and say this was not an issue at all, or it was an issue, but it's not now, and I don't understand why this was an issue. So anyway, we had a little chat. We actually gave them, at the beginning of the project, it was a mandatory project. At this stage in the game, where they're actually starting the design process, starting draping and all of the construction, we gave them the choice. I said, if you're really not on board with this, we'd rather you not do this. And so after this talk, we sort of took a list of the students that really were on board with it. And 90% of the students are really, really in tune.
Take a look right on the side here. This is the second version of their sketches. And this is what they envision for the award that we are going to present them. It's the Emme Fashion Award for the first year. And the award is a $500 cash award, as well as I will pick with our panel at the university the one dress that is truly remarkable. And they will dress me for a red carpet event or be booked for a magazine to shoot me in this award-winning dress, and they will then graduate with a tear. Now, how delightful and how amazing would that be for a new designer that's creating a change in fashion, the very first big moment for them and for the industry in general. So I'm looking at these. I just went up to Syracuse. I drove up to Syracuse with 7 children, 7 13-year-olds in the back of my car. Oh my goodness, up and back in the day. And we just put everything out. We talked to all the students. And we were talking about, well, that's a little too high, but go there. You can go there. But you know, we talked about, you know, proportion and my body and women in general. I said, you know, you don't have to be afraid. Full-figured women want in. We want it. So when I'm looking here, I mean, it's really quite beautiful. And I think eyes were opened at that meeting, and I'm glad that you had a chat with the student body. Yeah, thank you. So as I just spoke, there is going to be a fashion award each year. We are going to, so I was saying that we're now taking this into the incubus of Syracuse University. The agreement that we have is that this is not just information that should stay within Syracuse University. That after the year of cutting the teeth and figuring out the curriculum and developing the books and going into production with that and having the first year underway, we then present it to the global fashion community to be able to assimilate, to have that permeable membrane between Syracuse and other universities and fashion design schools, so that if they are open to being a part of this wave of change and to really give their students a credit, a really great opportunity to go within the fashion industry, being well-oiled and trained, it's going to help reduce the margin for error when a new designer goes into a fashion house and they can say, yes, we understand how to work with straight size, we know how to work with full figured. That is a huge help for a lot of companies that's the gateway to going into business, because there's just such a great cost and a lot of wasted money with how do you do draping on a full figured form and how do you do that. So if we can help produce more designers within the industry itself, we're doing a service not only for the consumer, but for the businesses themselves. Okay, so without further ado, and I know we're going to really stick to time because we all are going to jump. Marshall, could you do me a favor, please? And can you talk about where we're at? Who is she? How many of her are there out there? And what do you see as the white space, the white paper advantages? And could you just fill us in a bit?
Sure. First, let me mention to you that Emme and I have been embarked on this blazing trail of trying to get the full-figured woman to be recognized for well over 10 years.
Being kind.
To try to be getting an industry that's so steeped in tradition. The retail industry has no clue how to change. It just doesn't. How many of you buy swimwear in January or February? Anybody? Raise your hand if you bought swimwear this year in January or February. Did you go on vacation? No. No. You went swimming. Well, you're a swimmer. I have one swimmer in the whole room. No. But when you think about it, that's what we've all been doing. How many of you buy coats in the month of August when it's 96 degrees average temperature this past August in the United States? We don't. But yet the industry has been doing these things for 125 years, the merchandising calendar. And the reason why I bring this up is because the full-figured business is stuck in this same tradition. It's been done, and in fact, it's actually only gone backwards over the last time. The full-size business, all right, or what they still call the plus-size business, which just shows you how antiquated it is, the full-figured business still today is under 20%. In fact, it's right now running at 15% of sales. But yet, when you look at the population, women that state that they wear at least one of the products that they buy in a full figured is now 37% of the women in the United States. So think about what I just said. 37% of women state that they wear at least one garment that would be full figured, but yet only 15% of the business is sold to this market. This is a huge opportunity to serve the most underserved fashion business in all of the fashion market. Okay, that's number one. Number two, recognize that in today's world, with technology being such that we can develop better product, and think about what makes it work. Women tell us the #1 reason why they buy product is style, comfort, and fit. But yet, here's an industry that is still trying to recognize, and thank goodness you guys are doing this, trying to figure out how to educate people on how to make the right product fit better. It's not as simple as taking a size 8 and scaling it down to a 2 or all the way up to a 12, a 14, a 16. As you get to 16, 18, 20, those sleeves would reach the floor if you just scaled it out. So it's really an art, a science that we have to teach people how to do. And let me regress for 1 minute. I used to work with a famous designer. Lisa will remember this. The gentleman's name was Willie Smith. Willie Smith, when I worked with Willie, was a Cody Award-winning designer. A Cody Award-winning designer. And I remember going to Willie and saying, I would love for us, okay? I would love for us to put, at that time, the plus-size business into the product line. And what Willie said to me was as simple as, and this is the same belief that is still prevalent today. I don't want to see my signature dress walking down the street in a full-figured size. And I looked at him and said, shame on you, okay? And it took 2 years for me to convince him to try it, and once we did, boy did it take off. But today, still, designers are still under the impression that they don't want to have signature items, or they don't want to market through the plus-size market. And that's a mistake. Now, let me go to some other things that we need to share with you. And that's really about recognizing the 3 categories that are the hottest categories in the market happen to be the 3 biggest categories that are being driven by the full-figured woman. It's outerwear, active bottoms, and the dress business. And the reason why those are the only 3 categories that are growing in all of women's is because of the influence of the full-figured gal buying this product. Now that leads to the next problem that we have in this retail world that we live in, and that is the retail community sits there and says, we don't want to sell the full-size business because we're going to take it out of the stores and put it online only. And the reason that they're doing it is because they sit there and say, well, we don't get the same return and the same profitability that we get from the accessory business. So let's expand the accessory category and we'll take the full-figured business and move it elsewhere. It's no longer even on the last floor in the store, it's now out of the store. Well, my comment to them when I meet with retail is, do you really believe that the full-figured woman doesn't buy accessories? She doesn't shop for other items in the store? She doesn't buy for other people within her family? Why are you telling her to leave? We are going backwards in the retail world. It is now is the time. Because when you look at what's happening with niche market opportunities, retailers are finally now sitting here saying, we don't know the right answers. We're looking for opportunities, small, big, medium, everything in between. So what it really is about is understanding the science of the full-figured gal. The full-figured regular size it, the petite business for the full-figured gal, as well as the junior, okay, full-size business. This is the time when it's now just beginning to recognize. Online is proving its value in this market, and retail will follow.
Yeah, online is.
You want to add anything?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm just saying that you're speaking to online. That's the opportunity that people are going to, and the consumer is responding in such a huge way, missing the department store and the boutique. Sorry, go continue.
No, that's okay. And then one last thing. I don't want to turn this into too big of an opportunity to talk, but it's really about recognizing that fashion as a whole is about to get smarter. That means smarter fabrics, more technologically advanced product, better fitting product, and this is the perfect time for this market to leap in and be the smarter of the smarter fabrics, the smarter designs, the more technologically advanced. There are so many ways that we can take advantage of an industry that has been stuck in its own way. It is a self-perpetuating, shrinking market. And retail is now beginning to finally sit there and say, we need to change the paradigm. This is the perfect time. So anyone who's interested in getting in on this, you're getting in at the ground floor at the right time. Brands and retailers are looking to try to figure out how to solve this problem and solve it right. Timing couldn't be any better, guys.
Thank you, Marshall. Really, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
And I give you free license, please, to jump in throughout if there's anything that we need to have your insight and know-how in, with the numbers. How many women, there's this statistic, how many women are size 12 and above out there?
Size 12 and above, 37% of women state that they were 12 or above in one part of their wardrobe.
So is that,
doesn't mean they have to be full figure on both.
right, so is that close to 67, 65 million women?
There's 68 million women.
68 million,
Right.
68 million women.
It represents, just to give you the dollars, women's total fashion in the U.S. is a $100 million business. The full-figured business represents 15% of that, okay, or roughly $16 billion. It's not a small little number. Now add in the junior and the petite size, and you're adding in another billion each. So you're talking about $17 billion industry. That's bigger than the athletic footwear market. That's twice the size of the denim market. But yet, how many of us hear or read about any of these stories about the full-size market, rather than, but we hear plenty of articles written about these other markets.
Is that the potential, or is that the actual
No,
size?
that's the actual size of the market. So the market is sizable.
Yes.
It's just not addressed, and the majority of it is happening online, not in store. It is disproportionately larger in an online world than it is in a retail world in any other fashion category.
So how much money is left on the table, just by speaking the bottom line of business? There's billions of dollars left on the table.
Yeah, I estimate between $12 and $14 billion is lost to just not servicing this customer.
Okay, so you know why we're here. Thank you, Marshall. All right. Thank you. Thank you. You can clap. We need to applaud the work that Marshall does day in and day out, and my partner in this, rattling the chains. All right. So Susan and I have worked on projects before, and also we're huge Mode-ophiles. We loved Mode magazine. How many of you remember Mode? Yes, yes, yes. So Mode, for those of you who do not know about Mode magazine, years ago, back in 97, 96, 98, 99, 2000, Mode magazine was the Better to Bridge Elle magazine of the full-figured industry. It rocked. It rocked. And women were learning, who were above a size 12, learning about how to put it together. And once Mode went out of business, we were not able to, we really don't have a magazine that women with a curve can see fashion translated, and it's a real shame. It truly, truly is. And it was just a really awesome time. And that's not all that Susan's involved with. I know when I do a TV project, I have to book her on my ticket. Have to. She has to be an appendage to myself, because I like to be body conscious. I love to show that I'm in shape and I'm curvy. And it's very, very, very hard to find clothing that's out there, and Susan knows exactly where those pieces are, as well as an incredible stylist for the music industry. A lot of the women that are in entertainment know Susan Moses, and she'll make you look fantastic for album covers and tours and all that. All right? Yeah, I gotcha. All right. Now, Susan, I'm going to ask you something directly because you are living it, you're in it. What are some of the changes that you would like to see within the fashion and beauty industry with the work that you're currently involved in, with that butterfly to the flame, the moth to the flame? You're trying to make many, many women that are, everyday names look beautiful. What changes would you like to see?
I really think the easiest change where we can begin.
Can you pick up the microphone?
Sure. Is the beauty industry. I mean, our eyelashes have no size. Why is it that, I think she's a fabulous representative of the beauty industry, but Queen Latifah today is the only curvy woman that has a beauty contract. And I don't understand why there isn't another. I think that's the easiest way. We all wash our hair. We all wear makeup. Your lips have no number of size. I don't understand why there isn't another representative that is curvy, that has a beauty contract.
Especially with 67 million women out there.
Should have a contract. I would love to see an Adele in a contract. We have some plus model superstars who would be beautiful representatives, but I think that's the easiest way to integrate and to begin the process. You don't even have to drape anything. I mean, there's no draping.
Okay.
So to me, that's a no-brainer. I've often wondered too, because I'm always in the store. Walking through stores for me is my own way of doing my own research. And I always wonder why when I'm in the store, you walk through contemporary and Missy and it's beautiful, and then you get to the women's department, it's like the whole store had a brain fart. Nobody.
Merchandising is poor.
The merchandise is horrible, the mannequins are dressed poorly, and even the women walking through the store are complaining. I was in a store recently and a woman was looking for a coat, and she was like, this is really horrible. Like, I've caught women speaking out loud because the offerings are so bad. We should not be relegated to just online shopping. I have to wait for the package, pay for shipping. That's not fair.
Pay an upcharge for our size too.
Like, if you do me right, you can have my money. I'll shop. Show me some love, and I'll shop. I'm really passionate about it because I know a lot of curvy women that love clothes, but some of them even given up. They don't even want to go in the store because it's insulting. The offerings are an insult, and we should have the same integrity in design. I actually started designing because my clients couldn't find what we needed. So I just started doing it myself, and thank God also there are some designers who are open to going up in size, who are open to doing custom clothing for clients, the Carmen Malvalvos, Bradley Bayou, Tadashi, who's amazing. And thank God have had them over the years because it would have been really, really difficult. It would have been difficult. Like if you don't have to, if you're a straight-sized woman and your weight has never fluctuated, I don't think you would even understand how hard it is. We don't have that opportunity where I can go in the store and say, I need a top for them tonight, and I can just pull it off the rack. It's a search. It's like I really have to search. So for me, I shop a lot in advance when I shop for myself, so I'll have it because I know I can't depend on a retailer to get what I need or what my clients need.
Thank you, Susan. Well taken. Thank you. Amy, I'm going to ask you the next question because it leads us right into what you are actually doing. You are the founder of Madison Plus, and you have birthed into Hey Gorgeous. And you're online and you're rocking and rolling. And talk to us about your business briefly, about where you were a few years ago versus to 6 months to now.
Well, I started as a blogger in the space, and I grew up plus size and always knew that I needed to do something in this world because, like many women, having trouble finding clothes that worked for me. So I started Madison Plus and found a niche and was able to develop many relationships with these indie designers and the mainstream brands, and a lot of them didn't have a place to sell their lines, and they wanted to participate in plus size fashion, but they had nowhere to go. Their quantities were too small for Nordstrom's or the big department stores, and so I became that bridge, and that's why we launched Hey Gorgeous. So I work with many independent designers that have an interest in plus. I either find them by knocking on boutiques' doors and asking them if they'll make their clothes for us, and some of the bigger brands like Adrian Papel have beautiful plus collections, and we sell them on the site, and it's been really successful, and we have a lot of women who thank us every day for the personal touch, for the beautiful wrapping, for us putting them first. They're not my stepchild, they are my lady. My life is dedicated to them, and I will pick the best clothes and curate the best collection for them possible.
Bottom line, how has your business increased over the last year?
Oh my God, over 500%.
Say that again, 500%, because her intent, excuse me, I'm just going to speak on your behalf for a moment. I troll the internet. I don't have a lot of time to do it, but whether I'm on a plane or just car, whatever, I troll. And I know from, there's a few online retailers that are in the plus business, their intent is to serve. And that intent, energetically, I don't know how it happens, but it's transmuted and transported into the hearts of the women that are truly looking for a great fit, fashion-forward styling, and that is rewarded greatly for those people that truly want to do the right thing. Invest in her, and don't just slap things together, because you're not going to get her business, and she's smart. She's so smart. She's been duped for so long, and this is a boho chic kind of girl, this is the conservative girl, this is the Lilith Pulitzer girl, this is the grunge girl, this is the Metallica girl who is above a size 12, who has not been able to get in. So it's for anybody who is either absorbing this information and sharing it with your communities or interested in getting involved, really truly dig deep, because you don't want to waste your money. Because she will reject you if you really don't put the time and the fit. And it's a tough journey, let me tell you. I've gone through a few of my own renditions with clothing lines and going back into the whole realm at a good time right now, with a lot of lessons learned.
Can I add something?
Yes, please.
And also, it's about the presentation. The fashion is part fantasy and part reality. I need some fantasy also. Like, just don't throw any old picture up there just because she's a plus size woman or a curvy woman. Dress her beautifully, have her hair and makeup done well.
Focus up a bit, baby.
Yeah.
Give us a bit of that zhuzh, that hello, baby. Let's go traipsing through the flower. I don't know, but give us the fantasy. Give us what this creative process is all about.
That's what we do at Hey Gorgeous. You come to our site, and it's equal to any mainstream fashion website out there. We do not push you in the corner. We have fashions that are bold. We have fashions that fit you well, and we also support the indie designers. So these wonderful students coming out of Syracuse, they have an outlet for their designs. They don't have that.
Yes.
And I'm the only one, and I'm very proud to say that I will stand for you and I'll fight for you, and I will sell your designs on our site and create that marketplace for you.
Thank you, Amy. Let's give Amy a round of applause. Thank you for your hard work. A part of the sisterhood and brotherhood of those people who actually have survived at least 10 years, you could see our bruises underneath our clothes or in our hearts, but it's worth it, because you kind of try and figure it out when it's the first of its kind to go fashionable instead of just basic boxy stuff. Liz Black. Hi, Liz.
Hi.
Thank you for your patience. Liz Black is a vocal advocate for inclusiveness on the internet. She has been a part of the fashion industry with her written word, with her voice being beautifully orchestrated. Such a beautiful writer, I must say. I was really impressed with the work that you've done on my behalf. I wanted to have a blogger, a really tried and true blogger that's been around to communicate about the environment online and how that has changed over the 5 years. It's been 4 years.
Well, I've been working in the fashion industry for over 7 years now, and I predominantly focused on the straight size fashion industry for the majority of the beginning of my career. I've been attending New York Fashion Week every single season. I now average about 60 shows a season. And I have seen an enormous change in just the people who are attending, the way that things are being presented, the attitudes with people. It is slow, but it is getting better, without a doubt. I have been fortunate enough to see the first plus-size fashion show to be ever shown during New York Fashion Week. I was able to be there for that, as well as able to attend the first plus-size fashion show ever to be shown at London Fashion Week. So things are improving, things are getting more inclusive, and you can see designers are opening up those channels more and more. But I mean, of course, there's still room for growth. There absolutely is. But I feel very positive about what I've been seeing.
So within the perspective that you have, Liz, you mentioned London.
Yes.
The UK is rocking it. The UK is rocking this whole inclusive thing in magazines, in organizations, in in every aspect. With your perspective online, what countries are on a flow, on a roll here, and would be good FWL supporters and absorbers of this information? Who's hitting it right now?
Definitely agree about the UK. You know, I do feel that they have a lot of plus brands, and they also seem to have a lot of brands that are just expanding their size range in general. So maybe they're going up to an 18 or 20 US. You know, so they're at least
Missy. Is it a Missy full?
Yeah.
So there's a whole conversation. We'll talk about that in a
Well,
second.
yeah, but at least they're going above a size US 12. They're at least giving us, you know, it's a start. You know, because they are at least increasing their size range. And there are some really great plus brands out there who are doing it correctly. They are giving you great options. You know, some places they are online only just because they are, like ASOS, it's such a large company. They are selling so much product so quickly. They don't have brick and mortar stores, but they do online for everyone. It's not like you're being excluded because you're plus size. Everyone is shopping online there.
Is that a point, just to jump in there? Do you think inclusiveness means that's really going to be successful within the industry, that it's not just another plus size line, that you have a line that is inclusive of an aesthetic, of a personality that goes from size 2 to 22 or 24?
Absolutely.
Or even 20 if they're just going to be venturing into the full-figured market?
Absolutely. I mean, I work with a company called Fame & Partners. They're based out of Australia, and they're an event dress company. And I actually designed a line of dresses for them, and it started off just being one dress, and it went to a collection of 11. And they have always designed from size 0 to 22 US. But one of the things that I was able to help them with is, you know, there was a lot of just things being graded up, or they weren't really thinking about specific design elements. Like, maybe for this halter neck, let's put in, you know, adjustable straps because maybe the woman has a larger neck, or let's put in, you know, a little bit more coverage for the bust line because maybe she has a larger bust, or let's bring something in a little bit here, make it a little bit more fitted. So I've been able to work with them to kind of pick up some of those design techniques. And this is just based off of me being a plus size woman and knowing what fits my body and what works. But I also think about other plus size women's bodies because we are shaped differently. You know, not everyone is an hourglass or a pear shape. So there are things we have to keep in mind with that. So while it might be a challenge, it is a challenge that there are brands out there that are up for this and are open-minded enough and are realizing that there is really a lot of money to be made here. And the brands that don't get on board with this, they are going to be out of business. I mean, they're going to fade away. You know, it's basically
it's not
like get inclusive or get this.
Thank you, thank you. Jeffrey, I wanted to ask your opinion about the aesthetic for the figure that we have with the Emme dress form in 16 and the 20 and the 22. Do the students understand that this is a different shape? It's more of an athletic curvy or more of a Missy curvy, and that, do you think that motivates them to create a little bit less from what they've seen in the past with it being boxy and unflattering? Do you think that's a little bit of a motivation for them?
I think so, and what I was going to speak about in terms of the education is we're realizing from the very beginning of their education, we really need to start educating them on this. This is the first time that we've done this. They've only been at it now for 4 months, 3 months, and that's absolutely it. So this has been a complete shock to them. What they bought coming into Syracuse was aspirational fashion. They were all going to be fashion designers, you know, in Paris with rail thin models. So suddenly we're saying, you don't have that rail thin body, and so they're saying, oh, it has to be a giant square or a kimono or a luma or something. So it's been really hard for them. As you even see from the drawings, we teach the students to draw a 12 head tall, minuscule, you know, the width of a pencil. No, it's too wide. So even, you know, they have really tried to make a larger looking model. So this was their first start. And what has really helped them, having you come up and talk, and you're beautiful. So obviously making, you know, some design for you is great. But also, you know, I have to give a shout out to Wolf Dress Forms, because without these forms, this last week the students finally got on, they had their paper, they finally got onto the dress form with muslin, and the sense of relief. Oh, it's just a beautiful curvy body. Oh, look what looks great here, look what's great there. And they're really working with proportion. It's changing their entire idea. They've been going back to their sketches and changing because they see where they have to have, as you're saying, more coverage on the side, wider strap in the neckline, but still sexy. You know, what areas do you want to play off? So they're getting it. But it's
by repetition, both of you are educating them by just giving them a different perspective, a different lens to look through for fashion.
Exactly.
Who can be fashionable.
I think by a year from now, we're going to see aspirational fashion drawn on a larger figure, instead of saying, oh, well, my dream is to see it out there on this little person, but oh, well, we'll make it for a large person. Instead, you know, Adele is beautiful and she wears incredible clothes. Like, why are we not using her? As you say, we're not featuring someone like Adele. It's crazy.
I do want to do a shout out for Wolf Form because I had been talking to Wolf Form for a long time, and it's a family-run company. They supply the forms within the industry to all over the world from many, many fashion design schools. And when I went to them, I said, I have an idea. And we started chatting, And Bert, the president of the company, is an older man, and he looked up at me and he just was like, who just walked into my office? Because I stripped down in my onesie and I said, measure me. And he was, and his younger son was like, Dad, do you want me to take care of this? He goes, no, I got it. Can you imagine Bert looking at me like, he's like, I've done this thousands of times. And I'm going, he's getting some joy out of this. I was like, and he's like measuring away, and it was really, really groovy and wonderful. I just loved the whole process with them. And then when Tracy said, you know, well, would you really like to support this in a big way? They, without hesitation, said yes. And so $50,000 and 12 fully fledged forms were then put together with my measurements in the 16 and measuring up from my 16 and not from a size 8 for the university. So if we can just give a little applause for Wolf Form, because it takes bold moves like that and financial investment of companies that really believe in the ground floor of moving in. We have just a few more minutes, and I'd like to be able to ask Marshall, is there anything that we need to, just a couple of minutes, and we'll go down the line for a couple of closing thoughts?
Yeah, one thing I think we need to recognize is this is not a boomer business. This is not an age-segmented issue. When you look at what's going on right now, the growth in the women's market is coming from the millennial consumer, the young adult female, and from the boomer female. Guess what's happening in the full figure or the plus size business? It's the exact same thing. So whether you're marketing your product to, you know, a woman of experience, it's a nice way of saying an elderly woman of experience, or, you know, a young woman, it's a huge opportunity here. I can't tell you, this covers all ages. So this is not about marketing to one segment within one market, within one age sector, within one region. This is a worldwide opportunity within one of the biggest and one of the most loyal consumers you can find. As I said, if you think about it, if you show me something that I like, I will buy it, and they will stand on the mountaintops, and you and everyone else will shout it out. So this is a huge opportunity with hundreds of thousands of people standing behind you.
So we're just talking very quickly, thank you, Marshall, we're talking about the statistics within the United States. Having traveled all over the world and worked with so many different clients, Australia is reflective of the United States. England is reflective of the United States. Canada is reflective of the United States. We have a different shape in Sweden, but it's the same kind of thing going on. Down in Germany, a little aesthetic difference, but the same kind of situation happening. So this is not just the money that Marshall was talking about. That's in the United States. So billions upon billions of dollars is waiting for those who are really, really ready and with the right intent to really serve her and to do the work. You're going to be beautifully thanked for many, 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 many generations if you really do this right now. Right now. No. Yes, Liz, please.
I really encourage you to vote with your dollars. You know, this is probably the best way to get the industry to hear us, is stop supporting those that don't support us. Support those like Amy and like Fashion to Figure and Team Partners and Lane Bryant, and to, you know, companies that also do things from a size 0 all the way up into the, you know, to the full figure world. You know, support those companies that have things there for us so that they can really hear, look, there is money to be made. And those people that don't want to give us products, I mean, they're going to realize really quickly they have to get on board. So vote with your money.
Amy, go ahead.
Closing thoughts. We really want our customers and women to shop with us just to invest in themselves now. Stop waiting for your future goals, whether that be losing 20 pounds. If you invest in yourself today, you'll feel great today, and whatever goals you want will come. And you really can do that with Hey Gorgeous and Susan. I will personally messenger you clothes, whatever you want. Yes.
Thank you, Amy. And that's a really good point with the self-esteem situation. And we're always being told, well, you can get into a great outfit if you. So it's present moment thinking, which is a huge. It's not a trend. It's a real need-based point of view and perspective that a lot of people are trying to get peace from. Is just being here in the present moment, not living in the future and missing what's going on here. So this is a huge movement within the culture that's always been told that we have to change in order to be gorgeous and beautiful and all that kind of stuff and accepted, and let us worry about our health, let us figure it out. But if we don't have clothes to wear, we're going to only feel worse. And if, you know, I'm not going to go on. Go ahead, Susan, please.
No, in closing, I just want to say that I think all women want to have just beautiful clothing. We all just want to have the opportunity to walk in the store, find what we need, have a pleasant shopping experience, because that's what it's all about. We just want to enjoy life. Part of that is having nice clothes. It's real simple. It really is. It's very simple.
Thank you, Susan. Well, before we wrap up completely, I want to thank my wonderful panel. Thank you all so much. Thank you very, very much for giving your time this morning. I know there was lots of flights and travel and getting up early, and thank you very much. I really... Yes, yep. Thank you so much for being a part of today. Michelle Lee is our student. Michelle, could you stand up, please? Before we close, Michelle is our representative from Syracuse University, and she has spoke so boldly and so excitedly about this program. You might have seen her in some of the promotional material that we have as well. Everyone, we have a USB in our goodie bag, so a lot of the information that we're discussing here today is in your goodie bag, so please just take a look at that. Michelle, I wanted to, is there closing thoughts that you would like to share? And I can give you this mic right here. Oh, you have one? About your experience with being in a fashion design program and this being introduced. How did you feel about this being introduced to your education?
I think it's great. I've been working with Tracy on this for a really long time, and I have always grown up being a really curvy girl. And it's difficult for me to find clothes as well. You have to know proportion, and sorry, I'm getting over being sick, but I think it's really important. I think, like what you're saying, it's so much about enjoying life, and if we don't cater to everyone, what's the point? So.
Has it been an interesting adjustment for you?
Yeah, I mean,
speaking to Jeffrey's point?
I mean, it's an adjustment. I think there's always going to be people who aren't going to be on board with everything, and I think if you address it to the people who are, that's what you should be doing, and I think by doing that with my class, you got 90% of us who are all in, so. And, I mean, draping is draping. I mean, you're definitely going to have to learn how to take things in and give more ease in certain areas, but I think all in all, it's the same thing. You're just doing it on a bigger form.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you made the trip, and thank you for your promotion through and through at every turn. Thank you very, very much. I want to thank a couple of people. Tracy Washburn, the Director of Annual Giving and Donor Relations. Tracy has been my champion from the get-go. Tracy has worked tirelessly with my, requests. And without Tracy and Jeffrey Carmici, Assistant Dean for Advancement, for saying, yes, we can do this. Where are you? Are you back there? Don't turn red. Okay. I'm so glad that, thank you very, very much from the deepest part of my heart to see this come to fruition today. It's a dream come true. Todd and Jeff, thank you for your heralding this within the program and championing this with the students. And your hearts are pure, and it's really beautiful to see that. Thank you so much. It's an interesting journey. We're going to have a lot of fun. They're teaching me terminology. I go, that thingy up there, I'm certainly not a designer. Seriously? Seriously. But we are partners in crime here. Claudia Gervais, she is involved in this journey with us, as well as a few other professors. Up north, can you please send our good regards that way? The warehouse fashion design students, they're jumping in. They really didn't have, they have a choice, yes, but it's quite lovely that the students are there jumping in. Eric, where are you? Erin Kane. Erica Blust is here. Erica, thank you so much for Syracuse University School of Visual and Performing Arts, PR, helping us with this event. Ed Nordoza. I know that Ed might not be here, but Lisa Lockwood. And I'm going to go down one more mention is Dick Silverman. Dick Silverman, everyone give Dick a round of applause. Dick, you can wave, just come on, he's in bed. I don't really care. Dick Silverman, when I was involved with Kelwood and when I was just walking into the industry, Dick Silverman was really, truly would do an interview and just give me a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to communicate as a reporter and two sides of the story. So Dick and Lisa and Ed were, cohorts in crime and really helping this come to fruition in a very big way. This got picked up all over with millions and millions and millions of people all around, and I gotta say, people are here, and Yahoo's here, and Time, and all these different publications because of the article that you wrote. Thank you so much.
I did just want to say one thing. As you said, I've been in the industry since before most of you were born, and of all the people I interviewed, from Bill Blass to Warren Buffett to O.J. Simpson, the people that I found, and I mean this all honesty, I didn't know they knew each other. The people I spoke to almost every week that I trusted and gave me best interviews were Marshall Cohen and Andy. And I didn't even know until this plan that we knew each other. So Marshall probably started to hang up. I've been calling so often.
Oh, thank you, Dick. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so happy to have you here. And I want to also say thank you to Wolf Forum. Really, thank you very, very much, team at Wolf Forum, and my very dear Melissa Stolper, who's really towed that rope with me and calmed me down and helped me get very, very focused and helped bring a lot of wonderful people to this event. And Amanda Caruso, our dear intern that's been running around, and her life has changed by working with me in the last couple of months. She's like, what just hit my life? So I thank you all very, very much. And for anybody that I have not had a chance to thank, and Michelle, thank you again. I just thank you to the industry for everyone who has showed up today, and a lot of friends that I see in the crowd. Thank you for your not giving up and also continually using your voice. And the bloggers I see a few beautiful bloggers back there. Thank you for being so vocal and getting out there. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Syracuse University. If anybody would like to ask any questions, we are breaking at 10. I know that we're right on time. Is there any questions that someone would like to ask? Yes, Catherine.
So you mentioned that 38% of women claim that they have at least one item that's considered plus size in their wardrobe. There's a disconnect there. Is that because the Missy girl, or they're squeezing into Missy fashions because they can't find the fashion?
Be careful that when you look at statistics, 60% of the country is obese or overweight. That's the statistic. It doesn't mean that they're a plus size, a full figure. It means they're overweight. So I'm not overweight, but I could be one of those. I'm not a big and tall guy, but if I was overweight, I would still be considered in that statistic. So you have to look at, from your business perspective, you have to look at the number that is wearing the size that is applicable for the conversation, not just overweight. And by the way, the good news is women in the United States have actually stopped gaining in body mass. So for the first time in 37 years, we are not seeing the growth track of the growing size of America. That for women. Women have done a great job of finally slowing that process down. So it's only it's stabilizing. I'm not going to say it's not going to continue to grow, but that's why there's a disconnect between the 60% and the 37%.
But it's 68 million women.
Yeah. Right? So that's why you have to ask the question, are you in one size in either way, top or bottom? Because, as I said earlier, not everybody's created equal. We're not all full-figured, or we're not all small size.
But I think the fashion conversation that we're having right now is not inclusive of all the 68 million women. Let's just take a quarter of that, and then let's start there. Or even an eighth, and start there.
One of the earlier misnomers about retail was, well, that woman doesn't like fashion. That's the biggest crock I've ever heard. But they used it as the excuse to avoid having to sell the product. It gave them an excuse to take the merchandise out of the store. So to your point, it's really about recognizing, and what Emmy's saying is, this is still one of the biggest opportunities to be able to market a new product to an industry that is begging for finding growth.
Yes, you have a question?
Sarah Gross from Galveston. I'm curious about the marketing. I mean, obviously it's been huge in the news, but I was recently speaking to bloggers who were saying Calvin Klein, Michael Kors do beautiful plus size lines.
Yes.
And don't advertise them.
They don't.
They don't. And they sell so incredibly well. It's keeping a lot of that margin. Go ahead, Marshall.
It's the Willie Smith syndrome. It's the designer not wanting to, and certain people having to beg them to come forward. It's their opportunity. It's, you know, you're sitting here, you know, looking at them, just basically saying, we're trying to educate the world. We even have books now being written about this. So it's really about, we're going to do it. We're going to do it quietly. We hope nobody else does it because we want to have the benefit of it. It sells out faster than any other product that hits the store, with the exception of footwear, because in footwear, you're absolutely right, anything larger than a size 10 only comes in one shipment.
That's got to change.
Yes.
Okay, so you're asking the right question.
I also wanted, just before we break, we have a Syracuse alum sitting right in the front row, designer Henry Grethel. So Henry has been such an instrumental influence within the fashion industry, and thank you so much for coming and supporting this. I know that we talked briefly. How do you feel, being in the industry for so long, how do you feel, is this its time has come?
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. It is a great opportunity, and the interesting thing is that one of the things that was just said, it really applies to, by the way, to the men's industry as well. They have this feeling, you know, that big people or tall people, that they want something different, that they don't want fashion, or they won't look good in fashion, or it'll make them look bigger or taller or whatever. And they want the fashion, and it's really not being given to them either. But you can see in the men's business, the whole what we call big and tall really is a growth business, and the stores that and there aren't that many that have it, and there aren't. I have to laugh a little bit about. I know what you were saying is like, because I can remember myself. I was thinking, you know, when someone would talk to me about doing big and tall or plus sizes when I did women's, you have this feeling, you know, as a designer, I don't know whether I want my clothes in those stores or but I learned very quickly about that, because that was foolish, and it was really very poor business, you know, as a matter of fact, because I recognized the size of this market, and big women look great, and you want to make them look just as great as the little skinny ones. So there's more of them. Great. So Syracuse is taking this initiative because I think it's going to be something that will be very good for the School of Design, because we're going to try to put more emphasis behind the whole fashion design department at Syracuse, so that everybody won't be talking about just a Parsons or someone else. And Syracuse, we can not only give you New York living and a New York and a New York feeling, but you've got a great campus life as well.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much. Any other questions? I know that we have to get going. But thank you, everybody. Enjoy. If you want to have anything else, just we'll be around to discuss. Thank you.